Howdy do. This is Lady Ash, and welcome to Layers of Empowerment. I'll be painting, I'll be talking, I'll be sharing, and painting this beautiful picture one layer at a time. Now, the purpose of this activity, well, I have been charged with this by God for a very long time to speak and paint, and I have struggled so hard with it because of the discomfort and the newness of it and the lack of courage and everything. And I know you go, you? I'm like, yeah, I do. I'm human. I go through the challenges that you go through to manifest dreams and desires. So today I am facing my fear and I'm going to do it. We're going to talk about layers of empowerment. So, this is our very first episode. As you can see, we have a very blank canvas. And as we go along in the series, I will share with you what I have been doing, putting my life on canvas so that hopefully it will inspire you to get up and do something different, to paint your beautiful picture, and to just show up better in this world. So, we're going to start with the sketch, and that is sketching your story. Now, this month of February is a beautiful month. We celebrate Black History, we celebrate Valentine's, we celebrate love all year long. But in February, we do, a little Valentine love focus for February. And of course, we celebrate Reggae Month. And so there's a lot of things to celebrate, a lot of things to pull on. And so we'll be talking a little bit about how we can use those big moments to create even bigger moments for ourselves. For me, laying the foundation meant I had to get out of my normal routine. So in January, I had an art show called Hardwired. And for those of you who follow, you will know that the series of work was deliberately created and curated to tell the story and to empower you that you can change. And we're going to do it one artwork at a time. And so in January, the focus was just having that discussion with others and yourself. Am I hardwired? How can I rewire my consciousness? How can I think differently? How can I develop new neural pathways? How can I become a better human being for 2026? And for me, that was really a conversation that I needed to have because I have a set way of responding, especially if I am annoyed. Yes, I do that. And so I have to be more introspective. So the month of January was a lot of introspection, taking a lot of notes, and just working on the areas that I need to be stronger in. And in order for me to get out of my hardwire condition, I knew that I had to make some changes for February. February came along and there are things that I have jumped on and I got done and I'm doing. And there are things like starting this this series that was so hard for me and so difficult. And when I talk to my neighbor who is my manager, quote unquote, he says, "Who told you you couldn't?" And that was a question that sat with me for about 2 weeks. Who told you that you couldn't do something? Who told you that you couldn't? Because you know that you are made in the image and after the likeness of God. And God himself is a masterpiece. He's a master creator of all things. And so you can do anything you set your mind to. So here we are. And so one of the things that I put out to do to lay my foundation was to start going back to church. So let us start with the sketch and we'll talk a little bit about that. So I'm using these rubber spatulas and I am just laying marks down. Yeah. Laying a foundation is very, very important because everything that you do after you have laid that foundation will be built on that start. So my start was to go back to church. I have been visiting, but I have not been going in person. I've gone online, but it's just not the same. And the spirit movement, spirit says you gotta go back to church. There's a lot of things that you need to do, that you need a little bit of courage and that in-person vibration to do. So get out and get going. So I started the month of February going back to the Universal Center of Truth for Better Living. And the truth is, everything that I have become since 1994 has been based on the New Thought movement, the New Thought Church. And so Christ within me, my hope of glory. So I went and I got reconnected back to my church family, and I'm working on showing up for me every single Sunday. Yep. And so we're going to be sketching. I'm going to use this very hard brush. It's not very precise, but I'm just making marks in this artwork. So the question you need to ask yourself, what is the foundation for your change? What are you going to be focusing on and making your primary reason or your primary support for the change that you want to see in your life? Now, sometimes we're making a foundation for our artwork. It doesn't have to make sense. You just have to think about your intention. So your intention is very important. So my intention, believe it or not, is to make a beautiful work of art. And somebody would look on this and say, but you're not being very deliberate right now. But that's okay. In this case, you don't have to be. We're doing abstract, so we don't have to have a set format or layout or set sketch, but you're still making marks. You're laying the foundation. You're sketching out your thoughts. You're releasing ideas. And then from this, you will get some sort of a direction on where to go. Now, sometimes we make our foundation, and here I have chalk, and I can do some mark making, and I can put love in here, and I can put peace here. But sometimes our foundation is not very solid, and sometimes it gets erased. So we have to build our foundation on something that is solid and memorable, So for me, that was the start, was going back to church. And so I'm grateful for that opportunity to be able to do that for me. There are other things that I have been doing to address my rewiring. So the painting for this month that was curated is called Self Code, or Code of Self. And it's really about taking action. You have already examined who you are in January with Hardwired, and now we are taking action in showing up and getting the support that you need to do the things that you need to do to become unwired. So there are things that I'm working on spiritually that I needed spiritual support for. And so going back to church will help me to work on that, be a little bit more deliberate, and be supported. And let me tell you something, the main thing that I was struggling with, the main thing that I needed support with came up for Reverend Sheila in the sermon. She herself said, I don't even know why I'm going there. But she did, and she went there, and she brought up a story of struggling with a particular thing, and then she explained what she did to break through that. And I'm just like, God, Sheila, because guess what? That is exactly why I showed up to church. And it touched me so deeply that I had to re-listen to that section of the sermon later in the week to just hear it again and say, God, you're good. You know what you're doing. So my job is to show up for me. And I've been working the principle. I've been working how she dealt with that. And I've built on that same premise. Now you might be wondering what it is. So I'm kind of very, very sensitive. And so I do sense everything. Let's just put it that way. And there are times when there are non-physical entities around that I don't know how to deal with and how to navigate. But fear is what will always take you down. So it's to get rid of the fear, not indulging, not engaging, but to get rid of the fear that comes with the feeling and the acknowledgement that this is happening or this thing is around. So you talk about just acknowledging who you are as a child of God. that I just say this is a friendly universe and God is here and God is good. And Reverend Sheila said it's best. She just acknowledged the goodness of God, reminding herself in the moment that God is everywhere equally present and there is only God. And so I worked that. I have been working it and I have gotten results. So whatever you need to do, however you need to grow, this is the month to start. Not going to be easy. It is not going to be easy, going to be a challenge, but you have to start. So now I'm adding marks. I'm continuing to make marks. I'm still using black. Um, I'm going to add some water here to see if we can get some movement. It's not Febreze, it's water. Right, so here we go. Ooh, nice. So we're still making marks. And when you're doing a painting, you can make marks under marks with pretty much anything. So sometimes you need to work on forgiveness. And so you need to add that as something. Say to yourself, what do I do? Or what actions can I take to work on forgiveness? And then you have to work it. Okay. And so I have been doing church. So good. And then I have been doing my affirmations. Yay. So I've put up affirmations all over the house. Yeah, man. Coming up the staircase, bathroom mirror, over the kitchen sink, the refrigerator, that side of my bedroom, right under my TV. So I must remember I need to outwork, outpaint, outpost, keep outdoing myself. And every time I sit down to do anything but that, I am constantly reminded. And then I say to myself, okay, it's 1 hour worth of TV today or 2 hours worth of TV today. Yeah. But that affirmation and that reminder being there, physically pasted and posted on the buffet is what reminds me to stay grounded and to remember my mission and my goal. Yeah. And so that is very, very important in your sketch. Laying the foundation for how you need to show up in this world. I feel like this sketch is going to take a little longer, don't it?